Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Mr. Tiki Barber.
Good evening. Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to Charlottesville for those who came from afar, like myself, driving down 95 and getting stuck in Culpeper, Virginia. We all love the red clay and the cops that hide behind the trees. But it's always fun to get down here and see all of you, and we're going to have a fantastic evening tonight. I am a comm grad of 1997 and also a member of the Board of Advisors for the Center for Politics. I first want to thank all of the sponsors in the room this evening. We have had a fantastic event planned, and I think it's going to go smashingly this evening, and I want to thank you all. We'll get to the formal thank yous later, and we'll rib on Larry later. He said to say all good things about him. I'll try, Larry. You deserve all good things. But before we start, we're going to open the program with an anthem called Virginia, Hail, All Hail by the University Singers and their director, Professor Michael Slon. It's now my honor to introduce our first speaker. You don't have to be a student of government or law or politics to recognize her name and the impact that she is having on national and international discussions and the future of our democracy here and around the world. She served in the House of Representatives from 2017 till 2023, representing the entire state of Wyoming. While in the House, she chaired the House Republican Conference, the third highest position in the House Republican leadership from 2019 till 2021. But she became a household name to millions for her service as the vice chair of the House Select Committee investigating the January 6th insurrection. She stood strong in the face of unprecedented attacks to do what she felt was right for the future of our country. She is the author of her blockbuster international best-selling book, Oath and Honor. She is a true profile in courage, so please join me in welcoming to the Center of Politics, the Center for Politics Professor of Practice, the Honorable Liz Cheney.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you all very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you all. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Wow. Thank you so much. That welcome was warm enough, almost warm enough to make me forget that I did not get accepted to the University of Virginia. When I applied so many years ago. No. But it is really so special to be here and so special to be here tonight to honor the Center for Politics and especially to honor Larry Sabato. I don't know where Larry is. He's here. Larry, I'm sure, I don't have to tell all of you how special Larry Sabato is, but I've been involved in politics for a very long time. I volunteered in my first presidential campaign in 1976. I was 10 years old, and I sealed envelopes, which is a very important task that I got fired from because they all ended up being too wet. They didn't stay shut. But anyway, there has not been an election cycle that I can remember when I didn't want to know on a near daily basis, what is Larry Sabato saying? What does he think? What is he telling us? What's his analysis say? And so when I left Congress, and there were a number of places that called and asked if I would want to be a visiting professor, the only place I said yes to, and the place that I said yes to without hesitation, was the Center for Politics when Larry Sabato called me. Because I know, and I have had the chance now to see up close and personal. I've known Larry's scholarship. I've known what he's meant to the nation. And in the time now, a little over a year that I've been able to spend here as a professor of practice, I've watched Larry, and I've watched him with his students. I've watched him in large seminars, and I've watched him in small sessions, the kind that Mr. Jefferson wanted, engaged directly with students. I can't tell you how many students tell me, students that are now 35, 40, 45, they've gone on to other things, tell me how important Professor Sabato was to them. And I also want to say that when I had my own son, Richard, here a few months ago, the care and the time that Professor Sabato took with Richard, showing him all of the historic artifacts on the wall at the pavilion, was very special and meaningful. I felt a particular sense of welcome when I first visited the Center of Politics and I saw all the campaign signs up on the wall. And there was one, I was really excited to see that he had one of mine. It said Liz with an exclamation point. And then I looked more closely and it was actually Elizabeth Warren. So I won't hold that against him, but it has been so special to be here. And there has not been a more important time in our nation's history than the one that we're facing now. And having someone with Larry's expertise and his commitment, and having the Center for Politics focused on these issues, and also focused on civics education, focused on citizen involvement and participation, is exactly what this nation needs as we go forward, as we hopefully try to get our politics back to a place where we're debating substance and issues, and we're able to be engaged in those debates that matter most. And I have absolutely no doubt that when history looks back at this moment and looks back at this time and says, you know, what contribution did the Center for Politics, did the University of Virginia, and specifically did Larry Sabato make, we will know that his contribution was one that excelled against all others because he loved his country more. And that's a model that I think we all need to live up to and aspire to. So I'm so honored to be here, honored to be part of the family, and I owe that all to Professor Sabato. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Cheney. You know, they only let me in here because I was good at football. That's a lie. I was actually a good student, too. Our next speaker is also now a professor of practice with the Center for Politics. He is the oldest son of the late Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and Miss Coretta Scott King, Martin Luther King III. He is a thought leader on the world stage, a peacemaker, and a negotiator of some of today's most critical national and international platforms for social change. Last evening, he made his first appearance as professor of practice at Old Cabell Hall, the same stage where his father spoke 61 years ago on March 25th, 1963. Amplifying the work of his father, Mr. King has devoted his life to promoting global human rights, eradicating racism, violence, and poverty, which he refers to as the triple evils and the scourges of humankind. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Professor Martin Luther King III.
Since I spoke earlier today, I very, very briefly will say a word or two. I'm so honored and humbled to join this university and this particular center for and after as the 25th anniversary, to be joining when there's so much hinging on this next election cycle. I would say, as I've said earlier, that a voteless people is a powerless people. And one of the most important steps that we must take is that short step to the ballot box. This election being critical, maybe all of them are, all across our nation. And every election cycle, we must be engaged. The Center for Politics has, for 25 years, over 25 years, shared reasons why we should engage. Maybe we as a nation haven't always listened, but certainly we need to be tuned in now, maybe more than ever. So I want to once again today congratulate Larry Sabato, Professor Sabato, and his entire team for what consciousness that you've created over these 25 years. And of course, the over half a century that you've been engaged in teaching and shaping young minds. Now, I want to say one final thing, because over the years I've had an opportunity to meet a lot of people. And many years ago, when this state elected its first African-American governor, Governor Douglas Wilder, always great to be with you, Governor. So proud. And as a professor of practice, I said earlier and I'll say again today, as I am that, you should understand that there's an operative word within those two words. Obviously, professor, but the second word, if you love what I say, great, but if you don't, it's a professor in practice. I'm working on it. So once again, we are departing early in the morning, so I won't be able to join this whole evening. As you know, many of you perhaps have participated throughout the weekend, starting on Friday. And this choir I had the honor of singing with on yesterday. And earlier today, many of us heard this powerful panel of women and men talking about what politics are going on in our nation. And so this has been an extraordinary weekend, Professor Sabato. Thank you so much for including me. And may God continue to bless each and every one of you always. I'm looking forward to coming back, I believe, next semester to actually do the first official presentation and lecture. And the hope is that we will be together many, many years. Thank you, and God bless you all.
Thank you, Professor King. Dinner will now be served. We'll resume the program after our meal. Enjoy.
Hello, this is Congressman Bobby Scott, here to congratulate Professor Larry Sabato on 50 years at the University of Virginia and to celebrate 25 years at the Center for Politics at UVA. I've known Larry for over 50 years. In fact, we worked together on Democratic campaigns in the early 1970s. And so I know he comes to politics through experience. For 25 years, the center has been at the forefront of political analysis, discussion, and education of the next generation of leaders. I've always enjoyed any opportunities that Professor Sabato and the center has offered me over the course of the years to come to engage with the students. And I must say, the center's election and campaign analysis, as well as Professor Sabato's Twitter feed, has always been required reading for me during the political season. So, Professor Sabato, congratulations again on 50 remarkable years at UVA and 25 years at the Center for Politics. Such great work is already being done at the center, and I look forward to seeing all of the work that will be done in the future. Thank you.
Kind of hard for me to say this, but Larry, in my expansive career in American politics, I think he's probably the most influential academic there is. and I'm happy to join this tribute to Larry. And one of the things that I've always liked about Larry is I think he's always appreciated people like myself that are on the other side of the ball. A lot of academics and more thoughtful and pensive people kind of think we're a bunch of hacks and nomads and, circus performers and not very serious people. And Larry never thought that. He loves politics. He loved the people that are in politics. He loved politics. And like I say, at the end of the day, I do believe that Larry has been the most influential academic in politics in my lifetime, which encompasses a lot. So, Larry, I want to join all your friends in Charlottesville, all around the country, all your former students, and taking this Cajun hat off to a distinguished career. And hopefully you have many more years. And to all of my friends in Charlottesville, from New Orleans, I'll give you my best. Thank you.
People are always saying, Larry Sabato, he's so nice. Larry Sabato, he's so helpful. Well, yeah, maybe if you're working on a story about, politics. What if you're working on a story about Taylor Swift or how to play the banjo? He's useless. Larry Sabato, thanks for the many times you have been of help, and congratulations on 50 years.
Larry, this is serious. I'm not going to make any cracks about how you started your career in the pillow business, about how long you've been doing this, or about how you have all that morbid memorabilia about dead presidents in your dining room, in your dining room, Larry. What I am going to say is how much I admire you, how grateful I am for your mentorship, for the way you've mentored so many at UVA, and even a few of us who weren't smart enough to get into UVA. And I am also going to make you a promise. The next time we do this, maybe at your 75th anniversary or whatever, I'll wear one of those ties that you got me and told me to wear on the air. Congratulations, Larry.
Hello to everyone gathered to celebrate my friend, Professor Larry Sabato, and the Center for Politics. Larry, congratulations on 50 years with UVA. If I'm doing my math right, and you always do your math right, that means your affiliation with the university began sometime around the time when Republican Mills Godwin was governor of Virginia and Democrat John Warren Cook was Speaker of the House of Delegates. I have never heard of them, and maybe I looked it up, but I have a feeling you know exactly who they were. Larry, I so admire your work, all 50 years of it. Your wisdom has shaped generations of public servants, and your devotion to the university has left an incredible legacy. Students and faculty can see your impact all over UVA grounds. Any student who has ever studied at Clemens Library can thank you. That's right, when you were still a student, you led the fundraising effort to build the library. Anyone who gets their election information and polling through Sabato's crystal ball can thank you. In 2004, you had a 99% accuracy rate in the House, Senate, and governor's races. In 2008, you were with one electoral vote of the final numbers. And in 2020, you predicted the winner of 49 out of 50 states. Now, if only you had predicted a win for me in the 2020 Democratic primary, I would have already won. Behind us. Of course, who has ever taken a class or attended the American Democracy Conference at the Center for Politics can also thank you. Over the last 25 years, the Center has hosted some of our country's foremost political leaders from both sides of the aisle, while shaping the leaders of the future. And who could forget the Center's motto, politics is a good thing. I know people in politics love catchy slogans, but you might be the only one who could make that one work, Larry. Congratulations, Larry. Thanks to you and your team at the Center for your work. Here's to turning politics into something we can all appreciate most of the time. Thanks, Larry.
Greetings, everyone. Congresswoman Jennifer McClellan here. Congratulations to the University of Virginia's Center for Politics on reaching your 25th anniversary. The center has played an integral role in educating generations of scholars and future leaders. Your thorough, nonpartisan analysis of American politics is invaluable and helps promote a deep interest and appreciation for civic engagement and public policy. Thank you to Dr. Larry Sabato for your tireless efforts and service to the Center, UVA, the greater Charlottesville community, and the Commonwealth and country as a whole. Your leadership helps improve our understanding of American politics and moves our Commonwealth and our country forward. As a proud UVA Law alumna, I commend the Center for Politics on your invaluable work and look forward to seeing what you will accomplish in the next 25 years. Wahoo wah!
I'd like to congratulate the Center on its 25th year and Larry on your 50th at the University of Virginia. John believed deeply in the goodness of America and the power of our founders' vision to promote democracy and freedom around the world. Our family is so honored that you have named one of the professor practices in his memory. Larry, like John, you have always believed that politics can be a power for good, and I'm confident that spirit will continue to inspire your students to serve a cause greater than themselves and defend our democracy. Thank you, Larry, and thank you to the Center for Politics.
Larry, thank you for teaching us all that politics, as you say, is a good thing. Or at least that's the intent in working for the public. I keep that in mind here on Sundays at Face the Nation, that an educated electorate is essential to a functioning democratic system. That idea inspires me as a journalist, and I know it has been central to your mission as an educator as you've shaped the political minds of generations of Wahoos. Mr. Jefferson would no doubt be proud of the work. I remember coming back to Charlottesville to speak with you and your class shortly after I had become the moderator of Face the Nation. And as a UVA grad, it was a bit surreal to sit next to you in the front of the classroom. Thank you for that warmth and for that support and for all your work cheering on our democracy. I'm proud to serve the Center for Politics and to celebrate this 25th anniversary. Congratulations.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome back to the stage Mr. Tiki Barber.
Thank you. I hope you all enjoyed dinner. My steak was perfectly cooked. Thank you, chef, wherever he is. So 50 years, Larry. 50 years ago, I was maybe a twinkle in my hokey father's eye, waiting to impregnate my hokey mother. They became Wahoo fans for 4 years while me and my twin were here. But congratulations, Larry. You've had a fantastic run here, and it's going to continue. Everybody has a Larry Sabato story, how you met him, how you were first engaged by him. I was not a government major. In fact, I hated politics when I was in school here. I was an MIS major. I studied database design and programming. But 20 years after I graduated in 1997, we had our reunion. And as part of that reunion, there was a speech that Larry was giving about what happened the year before. Wasn't explaining why Donald Trump got elected, but why everybody got it so wrong. And I'll never forget his answer, why the polls were wrong. People lie. People lie. And he was right. People didn't want to admit it. And I learned something from you that day, Larry, that's made me develop an interest in politics that I never would have thought of before. And so thank you, Larry, for getting me involved, even though I was 42 years old or whatever I was when it happened. For the purposes of recognizing our donors tonight, our fantastic donors tonight, I'm going to bring to the podium my fellow Board of Advisor members and co-chairs of tonight's gala, Mike Miller and Rich Gordon.
Rich and I just have a few remarks. See, it's like 7 or 8 pages, right?
I cut mine down. I'm up to 36.
Okay. By
the way, we're on tour. We're going to be doing this for the next couple of
Yeah,
years.
they put us together. They didn't know what they were getting themselves into, but we'll show them. Tiki just said everyone has a Larry Sabato story. I go back more than 50 years with Larry. We were students together here at UVA. I have lots of Larry Sabato stories, but I also learned a lesson a few years ago that I don't want to tell those stories necessarily when I know Larry has the mic after me. So, no Larry Sabato stories. You want me to start? So, the center's board was launched. It launched this idea for this gala celebration in the midst of the global pandemic. We were meeting by Zoom. We were hoping for brighter days ahead.
Well, thank you. Well, fortunately, those days are behind us. I also will not tell a Larry story, but I've met him much more recently than you. I think we're on our 44th year together. So it's been a lot shorter time for me than for you. But, before we get to this, what I'd really like to do? I'd like to take a couple seconds and just talk about a couple of things. I want to make sure I never get asked to do this again. And to do that, I'm going to go off script because that's the only way to make sure we never get asked to do this again. First, I really want to thank Nancy and Lori and our families for putting up with us because we've spent a lot of time on this. So thank you. Mike, I want to personally thank you. You've been a delight to work with. You've given so much to the center, not just financially, but what you have done to be a light and move it forward and so many other things. I got to thank you for that.
Rich is afraid I'm going to tell Rich Gordon stories.
He's the best, and we're all very lucky to have him here at the university. We have amazing chairs who've done a great job, and Saber, can't thank you enough for all you've done. And I can't see because I have these lights in my eyes, but Peter Kiernan, the incomparable Peter Kiernan, thank you for all you have done many, many, many years. Thank you. Let me just say, Larry, I know I haven't known you this long. I mean, 44 years is like yesterday to us, to you especially. But I can't thank, personally, I can't thank you enough for all you've done for me, for my children, my family, and whatnot. What you've done for the center, to make the center, is absolutely amazing. And what the center has given, what you've given to our university, is amazing. Thank you for what you've done to further the cause of politics and make people understand how important this is and that elections matter and who you vote for matters, and teaching our children, but not just teaching our children, teaching us about elections and politics and what's good and right about this country. And thanks to you and a lot of others and people you have inspired, we're going to keep fighting for that. And thank you for what you have done to fight for the center, for the school, for the country, for politics, and for educating all of us. Thank you for fighting for democracy and all you have done. Thank you, Larry. Now I'll do what I'm paid to do. So, fortunately, those days are behind us.
Are they paying you?
Yes, of course.
Wow.
Oh, they're not paying you? Oh, man. So I have the greatest thing to do tonight. I have the most exciting thing to do tonight because I was chosen to tell you how much money we've raised. And I have to tell you that I think we're in a state of shock, but a very happy shock. I am very proud I'm stammering. I am very proud to announce that this evening, thanks to you, everyone in this room, a number of people who couldn't be here tonight, the generosity of the UVA community in representing and thanking Larry Sabato, we have raised $1.2 million. Give yourself a hand. Thank you. Our work is not done, more to do. Rumor has it I'll be saying that near the end, so I'm going to, let's see, I think I now talk and thank certain people. So let me do that. I'm going to thank people here. I think in your program it's probably listed, but I'd like to first start by thanking the Capital Campaign sponsors who have been with us a long time and been very generous. Dominion Energy, I think they're right down here. Thank you for all you guys have done. Mr. and Mrs. William Godwin, John and Amy Griffin Foundation, Andrea, I see you over there somewhere. I really can't see with those lights. Andrea and Michael McClellan, thank you. Mike Miller and Nancy Richards Miller, thank you so much. John Now, Saber Patel and Andrew Vest, Larry Sabato, the Saunders Family
Foundation, and Jim Comerford and Camilla Comerford.
So for sponsoring events of this 25th anniversary weekend, we extend our sincere thanks to the $75,000 Jefferson level presenting sponsors, Dominion Energy. They've been very good friends of the center. At the $25,000 pavilion level, we give thanks to the Jefferson Council, Mark Friedman.
Did you bring your own cheering section? You know, it's nice. You give money to the center, you get to bring your own cheering section. I love it.
Fortress Investment Group, Richard Laurie, Harrison, and Jason Gordon, my good friend.
Thank you.
Chris and Emily Krebs, Andrea and Mike McClellan. See what you started? McGuire Woods Consulting, Diane and Frank Atkinson, Kathy and Mark Bowles. Drew and Amy McKnight. Microsoft, Saber Patel and Andrew Vest, Larry J. Sabato Foundation.
Okay. And for those who have given, by the way, I don't know if you know this, but we're keeping account of who's clapping the loudest, and those are the people we'll be calling tomorrow for more money. So the applause is related to how much you clap. So please
keep clapping.
Keep clapping. At the $7,500 crystal level, we'd like to thank Kathleen McGinn and Thomas Elmy, Margaret and Michael Boudet, Rick Davis, Frederick Fletcher, Thomas Kennedy, Marcus Meyer, Michael Missel, Sonia Perkins, David Payton, Ken Ruscio, Jerry and Leonard Sandridge, Larry Shack and Kate Shaw, Culver and Linda Schmidt.
Okay. So look, it goes without saying that to everyone in this room, people that can't be with us this evening that have given to the campaign, we are tremendously grateful. We truly are tremendously grateful. For those of you who have not yet given, there's still time. But as Rich is going to talk about here, there's still more to do. I don't want anyone, none of us want anyone to leave this room tonight thinking, wow, we just raised $1.2 million, the job is done. It's never going to be done. There's more to be done, as I'm sure Larry will remind you of later in his remarks. So, Rich?
I think you pretty much said it, but let me just say this. We're very proud. We raised $1.2 million today. We've raised $10 million total for the building. We still have more money to do on the building. The way, as many of you know, with the university, we need to create a fund to pay for maintenance and all that. We have a lot of work to do there. But I think what you're going to find the most interesting, and the thing I'd love you all to think about and get involved with, is our programs. And this is really what matters. And the programs, Youth Leadership Initiative, the documentaries we do, the Crystal Ball. I mean, I go on and on about some of the things we do. One of the things I love, by the way, and Peter, we really need to thank you for this. You know, if you're a student here at UVA and you want to take an internship for the summer, I don't know how it works in your families, but in my family, that usually means I pay, which is great. But there are a lot of kids who can't pay for that. And, we have set up a fund to do that, to help kids who want to go work in government and be involved in public life. What a wonderful thing. Why should anyone be denied that because their families can't pay for that? There is so much to do. There's so much work to be done. This fight that Larry has been doing for 25 years and for 50 years to educate students, but not just for the education part, to educate students to go out and do something good, go do something important, go do something for their country, is something that we should be very proud of. And we could all be a part of that. And so I encourage you, I challenge you, I ask you, I beg you, join us. Join us. Let's go out. Let's do this. Let's make this really big. Let's keep going. Let's not make tonight the end. Let's make tonight the beginning. We have more to do. Can't thank you enough. Deeply appreciate it. We are humbled by your generosity. Join us. Help us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mike and Rich. I'm very excited for this next group to come up to the podium. They are a group without whom the center could not function. And they have a very special presentation, our wonderful student interns.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are the student interns with the Center for Politics. We're proud and excited to be here as representatives of the Center for Politics and the legacy that it holds.
Over the past semester, we have been busy navigating through voter registration drives that echoed the importance of participation in our democracy and contributing to the research for key initiatives like the Center's Youth Leadership Initiative and Professor Sabato's renowned crystal ball.
We've also had the honor of hosting delegations from lands far and wide: Argentina, Bolivia, Chile, France, Kazakhstan, and Peru, to name a few. This has injected global perspectives within the fabric of the university. It's a tradition that spans a quarter century, where each generation of student interns contributes its passion to the center's work.
We've lobbied the state legislature for a bill proposing an AI commission. The bill would prohibit any public body from implementing any system that employs artificial intelligence unless such public body performs an impact assessment and ongoing assessments to ensure that it will not result in unlawful discrimination or have a disparate impact. The bill filed in January took only a month to pass the Senate and House of Delegates and is currently awaiting Governor Glenn Youngkin's signature.
We have researched thousands of original government records released by the National Archives. We've even taught a class or two using our research, and it has been a thrill to see several of our findings also published by national media outlets like CNN and USA Today, among others.
Some of us have enjoyed our work with the Center for Politics and the classes they teach so much that several of us have taken back-to-back classes with the center literally for years.
But tonight is a particularly special moment for us as we unveil a project close to our hearts, a time capsule filled with memories of the center's first 25 years.
It encapsulates not just artifacts, but the spirit of camaraderie and intellectual fervor that defines all that the center does.
In the capsule, you will find political memorabilia, pieces of cultural significance, and items that speak to our experience as students at the University of Virginia and with the Center for Politics. This capsule, a trove of memories and aspirations, including handwritten letters from all of the students who are enrolled in center classes this semester, will be enshrined within the center's new building, awaiting an unveiling on the center's 50th anniversary, somewhere near the year 2050. But our work is not solitary. It is a collective journey. So tonight, we extend an invitation to each of you to contribute your own narrative threads to this tapestry of time. Your memories, anecdotes, and reflections distilled into one paragraph or two will be placed alongside our own within this capsule. If you wish to include your experiences in the capsule, please email your submission to goodpolitics@virginia.edu and we'll include them.
As torchbearers of a legacy that transcends our time at the university, we're grateful to ceremonially hand over the culmination of intern work to Professor Sabato. With gratitude and excitement, we present to you this time capsule of our collective journey, poised to embark on the next new chapter for the Center for Politics.
Bomb, is it? By the way, you all are just terrific and wonderful. We've had interns like this every single year. It just reminds me of the quality of the students that we have at the University of Virginia. So I thank you all very, very much. We couldn't run the center without them. They do most of the work. We make sure of that. They don't complain. At least until after the break. They're wonderful. Please give them a great round of applause.
Is that bothering everybody like it was bothering me? Yeah, thought so too. I fixed it. So, I have a trivia question for everyone. How many of Professor Sabato's former students are running for President of the United States this year? It's not an age joke, but the correct answer is 1. And he's here with us tonight. He's the first challenger to an incumbent president to win a primary contest since Ted Kennedy's 1980 presidential campaign. Our next speaker won this year's American Samoa Democratic Presidential Caucus against Joe Biden. Please welcome fellow Wahoo class of 1994, Jason Palmer.
I am truly honored and humbled to be here before you. You are all incredibly impressive people, and I remember going to events like this when I was a student here and hoping that someday I could actually be on this stage. I still don't know if I'm worthy, to be honest. I took Larry's American government class in 1991, and after the 3rd class session, I changed my major from astronomy to government. And I thought, honestly, that I would have a career in government. I actually worked for Senator Moynihan as an extern. I don't know if they call it that anymore, but I worked for 2 weeks in Washington, D.C., and they were extremely instrumental. I actually went to the Library of Congress. I saw the actual notes from the Scopes monkey trial from both lawyers. I did research into self-determination so that the senator could write an article on self-determination. I didn't know what self-determination was. You're probably wondering, who is this Jason Palmer? I promise you, I'm very well known on the mainland for impact investing and mission-driven entrepreneurship. That's actually what I've devoted my life to over these last 30 years, is working with young people, building businesses that make a profit and are double bottom line and actually are changing the world in very positive ways. You're probably wondering, why on earth did I leave my career as an investor and run for president? And I'm gonna tell you in 1 minute. It's because I see the future of our country right now, and it's dark. We are in an election that is gonna be polarized beyond any compare, and we talked about it earlier today. But you all, we all, can do something about that. We can model civility. We can emphasize democracy. We are a democracy. We are a republic that practices democracy, if that's your particular flavor. And I'm also here to tell you and announce that I'm pivoting my presidential campaign. I never expected to win in American Samoa. And I do feel like I have 15 minutes of fame that maybe I can extend to 30 minutes of fame. And so I'm pivoting my presidential campaign to announce a new organization called Together, ! And in part, Larry and the center are responsible for inspiring this in me, because honestly, I am freaking exhausted. I actually have run in 16 states and territories, and I won 1, and it's very, very hard to run for president, to be super honest with you. But Together is going to hopefully be the beginning of turning the polarization the opposite direction. We're going to try to help register 1 million young people to vote, Too many organizations and people have given up on young people. We cannot. We are doing this for future generations and, in fact, young people who are here right now. In addition, I'm founding a PAC that I think might be the first PAC that will invest in both Democratic candidates and Republican candidates. I've been wearing a purple tie on the campaign trail the whole time and explaining that great ideas come from all sides of the political spectrum. In fact, all corners, because I think green and libertarian matter too. And perhaps we will get 20 more people elected to the Problem Solvers Caucus in Washington. And perhaps, if we're lucky, there'll be 1 million more young people devoted to causes. In fact, the most important cause of all, American democracy, because politics is a good thing, and we need to reteach that to everyone in America. Thank you.
Thank you, Jason. Now it's a great honor to introduce our very special next guest. He was the 2023 recipient of the Center for Politics Annual Defender of Democracy Award, the first African American ever elected as governor. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the 66th governor of the Commonwealth of Virginia, the Honorable L. Douglas Wilder.
Thank you. Thank you. How you been? Well, thank you very much, Tiki, and good seeing you again. And it's good to be, well, when you hit my age, it's good to be anywhere again. People ask me sometimes, how you feel? I say, I woke up this morning. I am very pleased to be here with you and to be a part of celebrating what Larry is about. He and I go back quite a few years, and we've always been on the same side of arguing, fussing, agreeing and disagreeing, but he's always seen the need for carrying the word for people. He's distinguished not only the university, but the Commonwealth of Virginia. We're a very fortunate state, fortunate in so many ways in terms of not rewriting our history, but renewing what history was about and learning from it. I couldn't go to the University of Virginia, and nobody who looked like me could go, but my 2 children did. My son even went to law school and undergrad, and my daughter went to the Darden Business School. Well, why do I bring that up? Because nothing is constant but constant change. And nothing remains the same. And we're going through turmoil today. Some of the previous speakers have spoken to it, as to what's going on around the nation, around the world, and what's going on in the nation. Larry is going to be coming to our school at the School of Government and Public Affairs this September to talk about the presidential election and what's about. Electing someone every 4 years doesn't change a thing. Electing a majority party doesn't change a thing. One of the things that bothers me on a regular basis is that those who are in elected office don't listen to the people. They're away from the people. The people are instruments, so you cast a vote. But I need some money. We need some money for what? When people come to my office, they want to run for office. I want to run for governor, and they all come. I want to run for lieutenant governor. I want to run for attorney general. My question usually of them is, can you tell me what you've done of any accord for anybody? Do you listen to the people? If so, what have you heard? And what we are witnessing today in America Not only is it bad, it's real bad. It's not a matter of party, Democrats, Republican. People say to me, you've got to reach across the aisle. I never saw the aisle. I saw people. I saw 40 members of the Senate and 100 members of the House of Delegates. And that's who I speak to and speak to them. And I watch, I know how zealously you must guard the office of governor. And you know, and the governor of Virginia is limited to one term. And people say, why? Because the Constitution puts so much authority in that governor. Oh, you can not only veto bills, you can line item veto, as you know. I don't have to tell you. And so I'd like to continue with Larry believing that this 50-year celebration is one thing, the 25-year celebration is another. But don't think you're going to be going away in terms of your influence and your sphere of believing in people, because we need you. We need you here in Virginia. People need you. They need to be challenged. The leaders need to be challenged. They need to be told on a regular basis, what are you doing? What have you done? And I can't tell you how it bothers me when they come to ask for your support, and they'll tell you, well, I want to run for governor. I want to run for lieutenant governor. I want to run for the Senate. What have you done? Moreover, I would ask those of you in this audience, look at those people that you voted for already in office and tell me what they have done. If they'd done the job that should have been done, we wouldn't be going through this morass of indifference that we have in our country today. Party after party, reaching across the aisle, no. People crossing our border like it's theirs and there's no invasion taking place. We're spending money and sending money and continuing to spend money. And then we're saying, well, what are we going to do for those who haven't had that opportunity? Locked out. Education is still key. Education will always be key because the price of ignorance is brutality. And so let me congratulate Larry again as to what he's doing and what I know he'll continue so to do. And last I was here with you, Larry, I said this, and I said it the other day as well, because it stays in me. When I see young people, and I see people, not just young people, and I've said it then, I say it now, I will persist until I succeed, because I was not delivered in this world in defeat, nor does defeatism run through the blood, or even the blood of my ancestors. I'm not some sheep waiting to be prodded by some distant shepherd. I'm a lion. I don't want to know the sheep, sleep with the sheep, or be with the sheep, because the slaughterhouse of failure is not my destiny, and I will persist until I succeed. God bless you.
I'm really excited about this evening for those of us who are political nerds and people who love music. The combination of all of these things together and our illustrious guests tonight, I think we're in for a really, really wonderful evening and a treat.
Thank you, Larry Sabato, for the sound advice that has served so many students so well, myself included. More students than could fit in Old Cabell Hall over the years. Countless students that you've helped and counseled. So thank you.
But I must say that I'm extraordinarily honored to be here, particularly at the invite of Larry Sabato, and to be saying thank you for all of your years of being at this institution, but most of all, for the Center for Politics and the team that you've assembled to create constructive, positive change in our nation, probably which will reverberate throughout our world.
I've been waiting to make a dramatic announcement. I'm serious. It's a dramatic announcement. I am not dead. Now, I was fooled several times during this evening. Maybe I should be. You know, this would be a good point at which to depart. I don't think it gets any better, does it, Governor? but I'm just incredibly appreciative. And to have Governor Wilder come, I just think is fantastic, and I appreciate it more than you'll know. We've had so many interactions and meetings over the years, and starting when you were first elected to the state senate back in 1969, and I was a small child. I only remember it because of a picture. But seriously, it's just, it's wonderful to have you here and to have you make that effort to be here. It was wonderful to have both Dr. Martin Luther King III and Liz Cheney as our professors of practice, and have both of them here. And we hope to build on that and have additional professors of practice as well, because they really reach people generally, I think, but young people in particular. It's really good for them to see people who've been there in person doing the work of government and politics, which is not easy. As Governor Wilder can tell you, it is not easy, or Delegate Preston Bryant here. It's not easy to do what they do. And one of the things we're trying to do and have tried to do over these 25 years is to have the Center for Politics help people to understand how difficult it really is. You know, it's awfully easy to criticize people in public life. I do it daily, you know. I try to hold it to 5 or 6 times a day, because I think you have to, you know, limit yourself. Discipline, personal discipline. But it isn't easy to do what they do, and we have to participate, and we have to help them, at least those that we feel want us to help and who want us involved and who do good things. We're under no obligation to help people who we think are doing evil. But yes, evil, I used it. But I think good is another goal. And as long as they're trying to do good and trying to serve us, we almost have the obligation to try and help them do so. In any event, I'm not dead. I do want to say this has eliminated the need for a retirement dinner and a eulogy. We're just going to replay, you know, pieces of this thing. Just, you know, not the whole thing, but pieces of this thing. And by the way, I had no idea about 90% of this. I can guarantee you. And here's the proof. That video with all those political figures saying nice things, that would have been twice as long if I'd done it. Okay. Now, this is only about 50 minutes, so relax. Maybe they'll serve dessert. They can make noise. Are they going to serve dessert? Do we have dessert? I hope so. That's my favorite part of any meal. I even have dessert and breakfast, you know. Okay, I'm serious. You're laughing, but it's absolutely true. All right, I'm going to go through some of this. I'll eliminate what I can. It's like a State of the Union address. Everybody gets to put in a paragraph. And it's so long by the end of it, I don't think you'll get through it. I don't think I'll get through it, and then I will be dead. Anyway, I appreciate tremendously all of you being here. I appreciate tremendously all of you who have given to the Center for Politics over the 25 years. Sometimes we had tight times. It wasn't always easy. It still isn't incredibly easy, but it's getting easier thanks to you all and what you've done. So give yourselves a round of applause. And I want you also to see how many of our students are here. And these are only the students that are here now for the most part. A few came in from prior years, like Jason, and I'll congratulate you on your run. I never thought I would teach a student who beat an incumbent president in a presidential caucus. And that is exactly what we had. And I hope it doesn't stop with American Samoa. Although if you have to pick a place, I think that is kind of a nice place to, you can escape there. So anyway, I loved what you said, Jason, and we'll work with you on that project. I don't know where you are now. I can't see, but you're all out here someplace. But I want you to see the people who actually benefit, I hope, the most from what we do. We try to reach a broad audience, and certainly including voters of all stripes and all ages. And remember, older people, I would cut it off at like 70. I think 70 and older includes us. They're very special. And it should be paid attention to by everybody and listened to by everybody. And if you don't, it's called ageism. And we have no hesitation about suing you. So I'm just giving you a little advice on that. But these young people are here now. And you saw some of the interns earlier. We have a lot of other students who've come in. If you're a current student here, have had any connection to the Center for Politics, I want you to raise your hand, just so they can see. They didn't raise it very high, but you got to understand, they're afraid they're volunteering for something. I get it. I get it. I also want to identify a special little group and we go way back to a younger period. And by the way, I recognized all of them immediately, and I recognized almost all of you. You didn't think that I did. And I actually remembered your names, because fortunately for me, you're all named Buddy. That didn't go over too well, but I thought, if they're our age, they would appreciate that, right? Everybody's buddy whose name you can't remember. But this little group is the Government and Foreign Affairs Honors Program. It's now the Government Politics. It's now the Politics Department Honors Program, but we go way back to 1972 to 74 when we were in this program. I know you're over there someplace. Where are you? You're over here someplace. Where are you? They're sitting together, right? Where are you? Mike, help me. Are they over here? Are they scattered or what? Well, we didn't get along when we were in the program either. So I understand it, but I want you to raise your hands because I love you dearly. I love you dearly mainly because, as you know, I majored in politics and not the academic kind. I was already working in politics while I was a student. And the reason I'm here is because they let me use their notes. I just want to confess, I want everybody to know that. Some of you are shocked, apparently, and I'm sorry about that. But I think the truth will set you free, and that is the truth. Where are you? I know we got Dave Payton out here. Mike Miller is my mainstay there. Mark Friedman and Kathleen McGinn. Where are you? Kathleen McGinn. There's Mark. Okay, I know you're here, and I wanted to acknowledge you, and I appreciate so much you're coming from some distance. At least some of you coming from some distance. And we go back a long ways, and I hope we've forgotten the bad parts. I can remind you. I hope Eleanor Shannon is here. Is she here tonight? She was representing her family. Well, this has gone on a while, so I get it when anybody leaves. But yesterday, right? No, this is Saturday. Thursday, the Shannon Library was dedicated, named after our President Edgar Findlay Shannon Jr., as I remember, from 1959 to 1974. He had every good quality except for good timing, because if you had to pick a
period to be president, Terry, of the University of Virginia. I don't think it would have been the 60s and the first half of the 70s. That was not easy, you know, Vietnam and all the other things that I can't remember at the moment, which they were bad. And I think we can just go along and leave it there. But it was wonderful to see him given his due after all these years. He was just a terrific guy. Just rock-like integrity. That's what I remember most about him. That and his purposeful stride. Any of you from that era? Who was from the Edgar Shannon era? Do we have a few? There you are. Good. Huh? You're old too. You're old. Don't even try to hide it. But you remember him. He was a wonderful president of the university, and did great things. Did great things and solved a lot of problems for us. Well, look, I just want to thank the Capital Campaign sponsors, our Gala sponsors at the Jefferson Pavilion and Crystal sponsorship levels. I'm grateful to each of you. Give them one more round of applause, please. Thank you. This is my assistant, Tyler Jones. He's a lot more popular than I am, believe me, but he always supplies me with cold water. And you know, at my age, that's pretty much all I need. I don't drink alcohol, don't smoke, I'm a vegetarian, and I'm falling apart. So all those things they told you about, you know, don't drink, don't smoke, go ahead, drink all you want, smoke, because you couldn't be any worse off than I am. So just enjoy yourself. That's my secret to longevity or non-longevity. I'm not going to go through this, all the history of the center. Good God. I mean, it's a late, we got to get dessert, by the way. Didn't we order dessert? Is it being brought out? I don't care how much noise you make. It'll help. It may muffle whatever I'm saying. So, and remember, I'm a classroom teacher. Do you think they're ever quiet? Of course not. Of course they aren't. So, you know, just accept reality. Well, we're gonna try and improve all of our programs. You've heard about the Youth Leadership Initiative and the Crystal Ball and 100 other things that we do. And we do those things not because I'm doing them. I have to be reminded frequently what they are. Okay, and that's just the truth. It's the staff of this center that works incredibly hard. It's a small staff, but I think sometimes, Governor, you agree with me, small staffs do better than large staffs because they fall all over each other. Well, they don't have time to because they work long hours and we don't recognize weekends or holidays. I think that they're greatly overemphasized, weekends and holidays. You only have a certain length of life, right? Why waste all those weekends and holidays? You know, fly to American Samoa or whatever it is. So they work hard. Raise your hands and I want you all to give them a round of applause. Where's our staff here? Thank you for that time. I've been going through this and figuring out what I can cut, which is pretty much everything so far. Also, I asked for one thing. I asked my staff for one thing, and that was enough light for me to read. I can't read a word of this. So that is a plus for you too. You're not going to have to hear a lot of it. I was supposed to say this, the inspiration for this came directly from Thomas Jefferson, and I knew him for a brief period. You know, sometimes I say that in class, and students will like do the math in their head. They're not sure whether I'm, you know, telling a story or telling the truth. I think most of them figure it out, but that's when I bring up Grover Cleveland. You know, he was one of my favorite presidents, kept me in business for 12 years because he kept running just like one I can think of now. Isn't quite as good as Grover. But we do say Mr. Jefferson founded the University of Virginia. He had good points, he had bad points, slavery, and you have to balance them. You have to look at the good side and the bad side. And he inspires us to do things. And the truth is, he's, to my knowledge, never appeared to anybody since he died on July 4th, 1826. But you all don't know that. So when I tell you that Jefferson told me to do all these things, you're not going to be able to contradict me. So he did indeed tell me to do all these things. You know how you get him to visit you? You have a good bottle of French wine. And he is a wine snob. let me tell you, he loves good French wine. Okay, I'm getting the notice here from Frank and Mark. Oh, I've got to mention Frank, Mark, and LF because they actually started this center from McGuire Woods. Mark was one of my interns for one of my most famous books, Pack Power, and we still have crates full of them in case anyone. It didn't sell too well. I found out people weren't that interested in campaign finance. But we did our best, and Mark worked with me the whole way. We got to know each other back in the early 80s. Frank, I knew by the late 70s, I believe. I was teaching a adjunct class to make a little extra money. I started working here at $14,000 a year, which, yeah, it was the 70s, but it wasn't much money. And the University of Richmond, through Tom Morris, was nice enough to give me a little supplement there. And Frank Atkinson, who has written really good books, he doesn't have crates full of his books. He was in the class. And it was good because if I was ever late, I knew he'd just get up and start teaching it. He did a better job than I did. LF is much too old for me to have taught. He's been around for a long, long time. But he was a terrific congressman from the 5th District. In fact, I would say he was a really good congressman from the 5th District. You know exactly what I mean. In any event, I think I've gotten the points that I was absolutely supposed to make, which are giving credit to everybody, because that's the most important thing of all. Next time, when we turn 50, well, I'll be dead. But if I were here, I'm going to try to have more light so that I could actually read the speech. But what I really want to say to you is I love the young people here. They're what keep anybody alive and young. And they challenge you every day. They believe nothing you say, absolutely nothing. People who say, oh, they're being fed all this propaganda. Bert, where are you? He's in here, he's supportive of the Center for Politics, and I support him because he supports the Center for Politics. But at least my experience is they never swallow anything without arguing about it. Now, you got to understand, they're always wrong, but I try to listen to them. And I'm kidding. Sometimes I learn very much from them. So all I want to say is thank you for some of you spent 2 days with us, Friday and Saturday. Some of you are coming to and you're all welcome to stop by Pavilion 4. What time is that? I've forgotten what it is, 11 to 1. And we're going to have drinks and snacks and so on. If you're heading out of town and you want to fill up, we don't have gas, but we can at least give you a little food and wine, so feel free to come on by. Pavilion 4 on the lawn. It hasn't changed, to the best of my knowledge. I'll go back tonight. You know, we're on the flight path. Did you know that? They adopted the lawn as the flight path, and every single day, 40-plus flights fly right over the lawn. Now, I don't mind the noise so much because I can't hear that well anymore, and it helps living on the lawn. If you ever want to be deaf, it's when you live on the lawn. You know, for the 3 a.m. streakers who aren't satisfied with just streaking, they have to say, I'm streaking and I'm naked. No, we know that. We have a very, very good idea that they're naked. But I'm worried that someday, and Leonard, I told you this years ago, Leonard Sandridge, who was just one of the greatest people ever at the University of Virginia and is so much good with the help of his wife, Jerry, of course. She told him all the good things. I'm going to tell that story. He got the Rolling Stones here at the University of Virginia. And it wasn't easy because Jerry told me at first he didn't know who they were. But he got them, and UVA got a lot of money out of it too. But where was I? In any event, I've said what I wanted to say, and I just am trying to avoid concluding because I'm sure I left something out and my staff will be very unhappy with me because I did. But all of you who are here, thank you so much for coming, for participating. I hope to see some of you tomorrow morning. And I really do believe, despite everything, even the last 8 or 9 years, that politics is or ought to be a good thing. And we are trying to make it better. All of us are trying to make it better and more accessible. So thank you for what you've done for us, and now we will try and produce for you and for our great country. Thank you so much.